Fast Lane, we're back. John Williams and myself, Ryan O'Connor. Good to be in your company for another podcast brought to you proudly by our friends at Breitling and, of course, Villy at OneBet. By the way, Villy, great hospitality out in Paarl at his office. Phenomenal coffee, great purveyor of fine meats. If you go along with him, he knows his steaks, loves a good steak. Also, he's got the nicest chairs, office chairs.
Yes.
In the entire world, right? You can actually fall asleep in them. They recline, they do this, these angles. So Villy, thank you very much. He's generally gifted us with 2 of those amazing chairs. They're going to fill our whole podcast studio because they're huge.
Can't wait.
But they're beautiful. So Villy, send us those chairs, please. We'll hold you to it. So next week we'll have brand new chairs courtesy of OneBet. But let's talk a little bit of what's happening in the world of motorsport at the moment.
Yeah, we just had the Japanese Grand Prix over the past weekend. And again, Max just so far out in front. I think while everyone's cobbling over, did I say gobbling or cobbling?
Well, I'm not sure. Just go ahead. Well, Gobble or cobble.
Well, they say if you say it with conviction, people will believe what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so while he's heading off in one direction, they're all sort of fighting over who's going to take whose seat. It's sort of hot potato at the moment. And Sergio Perez finishing second with Carlos Sainz in third. I mean, he's just done phenomenally well.
Is he bored, Max Verstappen?
I'm worried that he's going to get bored very quickly because they interviewed him the other day saying, will you be around when some Osaka new track comes along in 2030? And he laughed. He said, listen, he said, what do you think of the new track? I don't know. I probably won't be there. So he says that. He says that he's not for records and all those things. So I kind of believe him. I think he's a true racer, him, and there's a few of them like Alonso, and that they really just they enjoy a good battle and a good race. So I don't think he's going to try and break records and stick around long enough, no.
Interesting stat with regards to Ayrton Senna, the late Ayrton Senna's records, and where Max is at the moment. And you can't think of, in my mind, I think of Ayrton Senna, I think that he seemed to have a lot longer of a career than Max Verstappen's had so far. It just shows you the immense winning record that Max has had over the last 5 years.
Like for me, I think to nominate sort of a GOAT in this new era between Lewis and Max, let's forget about Ayrton Senna and Schumacher.
Sure.
For the two of them, they need to go to another manufacturer and win.
Sure.
To prove that they are the GOAT. So like for Hamilton, if he gets in this Ferrari and he can win, then, possibly.
We've got some breaking news on the Fast Lane. We've got Inside Scoop. Ladies and gents, have a look at this visual. That's right. Ricciardo is racing for Red Bull. He's back at Red Bull next season. Not as a racer. He'll be delivering to John and I our cases of Red Bull every month in that little mini.
Oh, it's a perfect car for him for next year. Especially again, his teammate Yuki Tsunoda, again, just dominating him at the moment. We can't have
Ricky.
Daniel, sorry, we're not sorry.
Yeah.
Come on now.
He's a nice guy, great guy off the track. We need more of him on the track, though, if he's going to survive in Formula 1 next season.
Oh, he's got a tough uphill battle. A lot to prove. But Carlos Sainz, you imagine the position he's in at the moment. Think about it, Ryan. He's just dominating. He's loving this. Actually, the Ferrari boss came out saying enough questions around Hamilton and whether we've made the right decision or not. You can imagine how he's getting questioned.
What a jaw it must be. No pressure. You're not there next season, but you're just smashing it out the park.
He is loving it. And rightly so. He's kind of underrated for whatever reason. But he comes from a family of great race car drivers. His dad is just a legend of the sport. So I think
it's a thoroughbred family that.
Yeah, talks of possibly going to Aston Martin, and then there were talks of Red Bull, Mercedes. There's been so many.
He should open a nightclub next year.
I'm listening.
Sainz. It's such a good name. There was that. I'm sure there's a place called Sainz in Saint-Tropez.
Yeah, wasn't there a place in Cape Town called Sainz?
As well.
Yeah.
Be a good name for a nightclub, just saying.
Oh, we'll speak to Carlos. Maybe we get him on the show next week.
You are Carlos. You don't have a car at the moment.
Yes.
I should call you Carlos.
I am Carlos.
You've had some
Carlos
amazing
Williams.
Cars. We want to talk about those cars because we feature them. But before we feature them, don't go anywhere, because when we feature them, we're going to come back. I'm going to randomly call somebody on my phone.
Yes.
And I've actually narrowed it down where I'm going to call, and I'm going to give you some clues before I call this person. So really, it's not random, is it? No, but stick around, because this is a rising South African champion who's lighting Europe up in terms of motorsport. Let's first have a look at what John and I were riding. Did I say racing?
You did.
Riding over the past week. Totally different this week. This is my favorite. You know it.
I know.
Roller Luxury Collection. I'm in the big granddaddy, the big bad boy, the G-Wagon. And this is the G400D, the one that the Save the Environmentalists, which are important, we need them, would be saying is the one to go for. The one that's slightly more economical, the one that doesn't have that big nasty V8 engine. I love that big nasty V8 engine.
I know you do, but I mean, with petrol price going through the roof, this is probably a better option these days.
Yeah, more economical, but a G400D. It's on the Ford Roller Luxury Collection.
Well spec'd as well. I always like to say that. The wheels match the rest of the car. So it's got the sporty look. And
do the wheels match the windows?
Yeah, I was going to say something else, but the wheels match the
roof racks.
The fenders. And especially in these conditions that we've had over the Western Cape, I mean, we felt solid. I mean, going out to that car show, we were talking about it. I mean, if there's one vehicle you want to be in and feel solid in, this is the car to be in.
You do. Get a lot of looks. People look at you as if to say, what are you dealing in? What kind of contraband are you involved with? With nothing. In the ferrying of my own kids to and from school, which this job does in a car does with immense ease. It's a nice place, a comfortable place. It's got, as you mentioned, every single bell and whistle under the sun comes with us. There's small little branding that Mercedes-Benz put in here along a different theme. It says stronger than time. And they're, of course, talking about the G-Wagon. How over years, these have just been
It's like
incredible.
a tank. I mean, even the closing of the doors.
Literally.
I mean, we talk about it. You close these doors, it's bang, it's solid. You know, and yeah, you feel safe in it.
Nothing not to love about this vehicle, but from this vehicle, being a big road bruiser and cruiser that I absolutely love, on Rollover Luxury Collections floor, to one that you've been driving. Again, BMW Tiger Valley are doing great things. They've got the all-new i5. Let's go check it out. Inside the Bavarian Motorworks, and this one, wow. This is so special. This is the first time I've been inside, and since you've been driving one, the all-new i5. This one, the M60, the range topper.
I mean, look at the infotainment system in this vehicle. It is really just sleek. And you know what I like? It's easy to use. Sometimes, you know, we find it very complicated when we jump into cars, and I get a little bit frustrated, but BMW do it so well. Everything works. And I like this carbon, like kind of gloss look on the dash. And just the features, it's just awesome. This is definitely one of the EV cars that's made me fall in love with EV cars.
John, a lot of people get range anxiety. It's when you get into the car and you're constantly reminded of the fact that you're running out of range. What's it been like driving this car in terms of your range?
I haven't felt like that, you know, because we speak about it, you sort of learn with the cell phone, you know, how much charge you need in the day to get you through the rest of the day. Electric cars no different. I'm starting to get used to driving more of them, understanding how much range I need to get through the rest of the afternoon. And yeah, I've driven this car pretty much the whole week. And yeah, still got lots of power, lots of charge. I think you get about 400 kilometers. Again, it depends on how you drive. If you know, in launch mode, which this car, I must say, does this little jiggle before you launch. It rocket ships off the line. But I mean, you've got efficient mode, which I put in most of the time. And when you freewheel down here, it recharges back into the battery. But it's just such a menacing looking BMW. I just can't stop looking back at it. Every time I close the door, I do this like, wow.
It's a proper package. Yes. They give you a show when it's on the road.
Yeah.
I'll tell you my biggest downside of this car.
What?
Giving it back. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because once you've driven a proper electric car, right, and proper, I mean, it goes, it handles well, it's such a good drive, there's no loose rattling on it, it's a solid vehicle that goes very quickly. It's hard to get that kind of response back from a normally aspirated engine or a combustion engine.
I fully agree. This is the first time out of a lot of vehicles I've driven, and you've driven, Ryan, that we both feel that way. This is going to be very difficult giving this car back. And it turns heads on the road. I mean, the whole package is just so solid. It's going to be hard to beat, especially also in this price bracket. Yes, it's expensive, but yes, all cars are becoming very pricey.
All-wheel drive, has it got the X-Drive system?
It's got the X-Drive, which I think is phenomenal. I mean, we've tested the X-Drive system around the racetrack, Ryan, and you know, I mean, that car, when it gets out of shape too, in these conditions.
It's my favorite steering wheel.
I know.
The chunky monkey.
I love the fact that they put this little racing center, little, like, you know, to line the wheels up. Yeah, no, I can't find any faults with this vehicle. Only positives, and I've really enjoyed it. It's going to be tough giving this one back.
Lovely. Well, I wonder what we'll be driving next week. You're going to have to like, subscribe,
there's
and
something interesting coming.
Something cool's on the
cards. It's always hard for me. Keep quiet.
There we go, John. That was pretty special. Two very nice cars. That i5, just something very special.
It's made me fall in love with EV cars. I mean, besides like the hyper EV cars, you know, the Porsche that I drove, the Taycan GT Turbo, that's a whole different league. But this, as an all-round EV car to use on a daily basis, man, did I like it. It menacing in that black, as I said on the video. But yeah, it's just, I just really enjoyed it. It was hard to give back those keys, like I said to Chris. But yeah, I look forward to the next one.
Nice.
And the next one's going to be very exciting.
Correct. Next one is I'm in another car from our friends at Rotor Luxury Collection as well, Brandon. A huge thanks to you. And another Mercedes-Benz and a Porsche's on the way. But let's quickly make a phone call now. We talk about South Africans, John, that go overseas and do really well for themselves. We know Brad Binder. We've seen the headlines. We know how good he is on 2 wheels.
Yeah.
On 4 wheels, the Van der Lindes. Incredible export. But at the same time, there's a youngster from the same class as the Van der Lindes. It's the same. They've almost matriculated from the same thoroughbred school of horse racing, of motor racing. And now they're off overseas plying their trade. You know what I'm talking about?
Of course I know.
The Lamborghini factory driver, Jordan Pepper.
Yes. And it's
Should we call him?
Let's call him.
Let's just talk quickly about what happened. Is those that missed out last weekend, have a look at this picture. That is a podium finish for the team. That is Jordan Pepper and that is Kelvin van der Linde.
They lost the race by 400ths of a second. It was so close. I was on the edge of my seats. But let's get Jordan to talk us through.
Yeah, absolutely. There we go. Jordan Pepper, who's on the line for, where is he at the moment in the world?
I think he's in Europe somewhere.
He's on his way to Portugal for testing. Another big race there soon.
Hey, Ryan, how are you?
Hello, housekeeping. Lekker, mate. Good to chat to you. Thanks for taking some time out to chat to us in the fast lane. John's here as well.
How's it, Jordan?
And we are live. How's it, buddy?
How are you guys? All good, thanks.
We were trying to work out if you're on the golf course or the pedal
court. Pedal court, yeah.
No, I'm actually between washing loads.
Jeez, a factory Lamborghini driver, you still got to do those things, eh?
The life of a superstar.
Yeah.
I wish I was out on the golf course, but unfortunately in the UK at the moment, the weather's not optimal.
No. Jordan, listen, what a race on the last weekend. Just incredible work again. People don't appreciate the fact that, we don't know what happens behind the scenes and how hard you've had to work to get where you are at the moment. It has been a slog. It's been a lot of hard work. And then results like you get on the past weekend, I mean, it must just be so satisfying for both you and the team.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we were on the wrong side of the closest finish ever in history at the Nürburgring. We were slightly on the wrong side of it, but ultimately, looking at the bigger picture, you got it spot on. It's especially that program. I think it's year 2 now, obviously in the making. We've got a great partner on board now with Red Bull. So I think from that side of it, the program's only growing. And what makes it also a special one for me is sharing a car with long-time buddy who now can call more than just that, Kelvin van der Linde. I think we've grown up together. We took the step overseas together. We kind of went on our own little paths, and to come back and be able to share a car, it's always been a dream of ours to race races together. And it was just me and him on the car. And I think it was kind of a cool moment to realize that how far we've come, how great it's been. And it's also just given us hope and motivation going forward, because it's obviously, John knows it quite well because of his brother Shane's obviously been involved in the circuit racing side of it in Europe and stuff like that. Nürburgring 24 Hours is one of the flagship events for us to compete in, and it's all the prep going into that, and just to be able to say that we can run at the front end quite consistently, we showed over the weekend. I think it's all good signs heading into Nürburgring in May.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's phenomenal. I've watched you guys on the circuits here, Kalani, as youngsters. And I mean, I get so excited seeing that South African flag and 2 South African drivers in a car. And I mean, you're beating all these Europeans, which I think is great. And I mean, that's their backyard. What do you think makes you guys so fast there, Jordan? What is it that, I mean, you guys, it's not easy, that circuit, to just, do as well as you do. I mean, you haven't done as many laps as what they have done. But what do you think the edge is that South Africans seem to do so well on that circuit?
Look, I mean, I'm 2 victories behind Calvin at the moment there. He's already won 2 24-hour races there. I don't know. Nürburgring's actually, weirdly enough, when I look back at it all, it's the place I've been most successful at amongst any racetrack in the world. I don't know, the GP track plus the Nordschleife. So it's, you know what I think, it's probably one of the only tracks in the world that relates back to our roots, back to South Africa, old school, no runoff. Something we know, narrow, fast, bumpy, all those factors that are, if you go look at every South African track, I think they have exactly the same traits. So on that side of it, it's kind of like going home in that sense. When you look at the racetrack layout and stuff, but it's just probably, it's a track that requires a bit of balls.
Sure.
but it's one of those places where risk versus reward is always quite a high thing, and I don't know. I just think that just puts us back in our element. As South Africans in general, we love to fight and fight hard. We love to be the odd ones out, be the ones where we're not like highly rated to do something and prove everyone wrong. And I think that's just
underdogs. We love it.
That's always been cool.
Absolutely. Jordan, there's not much of a break. I mean, you're flat out. You mentioned doing a quick a round of washing for a day or two, packing the bags, off we go again. Portugal calls, and there's so much to happen still this season for you. Where am I right in saying it's Portugal next?
No, actually back to the Nürburgring this weekend.
Okay, all right.
Final prep races before the 24-hour. It's actually called the Nürburgring qualifiers. It's basically the organization changes, so it's the same as the 24-hour race. It's slightly different format, same layout like we do at the 24 hours. It's slightly different, but we use it purely as a prep race for the 24-hour, as does everyone else. And then 1 week off, and then the first round of GT Open, which is a new championship that I'm participating in this year. Obviously, being a factory Lamborghini driver, they basically call up and say, "Hey, this year you're going to race here."
Yeah.
And that's what I do. So, so that's going to be out in Portugal in end of the month. Then that season kind of gets underway, and then highlight events, obviously being Nürburgring 24-hour end of May, is probably the one that's circled, highlighted, crossed, starred, everything on my calendar.
Yeah.
So it's all focused on that.
We look forward to having you obviously back closer towards that, both you and Calvin too. Just to chat in general and life in general. We know Cape Town's a very special place and you miss it when you're away. You come home for a little bit. When you come home, you try and unwind, relax and take in everything you can in the break period that you have. And by that, I mean it's going flat box. Like you race in a car over there, you come back and you enjoy your time here too, which is always lekker to see of both you and the Funderlanders, that every Christmas when you try and you can, you come back home.
Yeah, I mean, there's no place like home. Family, friends, the weather, the food, just what it offers and stuff. It's a perfect way to unwind. And for me, unwinding is not about just popping a deck chair out there on Clifton Beach and soaking in the sun. It's playing paddle, playing golf, going out with mates, probably having one too many drinks now and again. It's all the good stuff. And I mean, that's why South Africa's a forever home for me, and it's why I always enjoy it, because also you get to meet up. There's so many people. Every time I go back, I always bump into people that tune in and watch what we do, and that's kind of special, because I know what we do is a bit weird and a bit wonderful, and it's a small sport in a big world, but at the same time, it's what's so passionate and cool for me. So all of it.
Well,
it's what makes me, I don't know, I feel like just keeping the South African
flag and spirit
about myself is exactly what's what always set me different to the rest.
Listen, well, we're awfully proud of you, and we can't thank you enough for joining John and I on the Fast Lane. All the very best for that qualifying this weekend, and we'll chat to you before the end of May, that's for sure. Jordan Pepper, thanks a stack, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I'll definitely be tuning in more often and watching what you guys get up to.
Stunning, my friend.
Cool.
Thanks,
cheers,
bud.
Jordan.
Ciao. Cool.
Bye. Jordan Pepper on the line to the Fast Lane.
You know what amazes me, Ryan? It's like South Africans, they just, you know what he's doing? It's phenomenal what they achieve. And he's just like, it's we really are so proud as South Africans, especially over there, you know. It's great to see. And they're doing a phenomenal job. I mean, there's thousands of foreigners that want to win that race. And yes, two South African boys dominating. I just think it's awesome.
Listen, well done to him and Calvin again. Calvin will be a guest coming up soon on the show as well. There's motorsport aplenty.
Yeah, we had them testing DTM now. DTM. Yeah, last 2 days, Sheldon and Calvin, and a good, we've adopted him as a South African. Rene Rust, he's a German driver but loves Cape Town, so they've all been testing, and we'll get them definitely lined up to chat a little bit about how that went.
John is eager. You might know one of us is getting bigger, one of us is getting smaller. John's getting a bit bigger. I'm trying to shed the kilos. No, not at all. John's actually getting ready for the Samola Hill Climb in Knysna. It happens 3 to 5 May. The Fast Lane will be there, broadcasting from a top secret location. I can tell you we're doing some amazing things up there. Sanlam Pride Private Wealth are doing something cool with us as well coming up in the course of this year. In actual fact, throughout the course of this year, we're going to be doing some really cool stuff with Sanlam Private Wealth. Watch this space for more details. Like, subscribe, be a part of this journey that is the fast lane. Your comments down below. As per always, a huge thanks to Breitling. We're still looking forward to getting hold on our hands on that aerospace B70 orbiter. That model apparently just hot off the press at the moment. And of course, our brand new OneBet gear. Huh?
Love it.
Sure.
Looking smart there.
Sure. Take care, everybody. Like, subscribe, and we'll catch you next week for another episode.